Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the next instalment of the fourth season of RSF1 with Division 2. I'm Primus Gaming, and today I'm joined with someone different. We've had quite a few changes this season, where we've had your boy Pro, we've had Easton, we even had Michael, I think, for one episode, for one race, and today I'm joined by someone new. Well, new to Division 2 anyways. It's Mason Dunk. How are you, mate?
I'm good, how are you?
Very, very good. And you picked an interesting track to commentate with me on today in France.
Yeah.
Probably one of the. Oh, go on.
No, on you go.
I was going to say it's probably one of the most unique tracks of the circuit, and a lot of people are quite mixed on their views on it. Like, what would you say about this track?
Me personally, it's not one of my favourite tracks. Not at all.
Oh, sorry, just had a little sip of drink as well. Right, Q1, and looks like you've only got 17 cars, so it's not going to be as crowded as a Grand Prix as it normally is. So that means for Q1, we will be saying goodbye to 2 cars at the end of the session. For anyone that's new to qualifying, there is a set of rules. Actually, would you like to explain the format of qualifying for anyone who is new to the Formula 1 game or even Formula 1 in general, Mason?
Yeah, I'll give it a wee rundown. Basically, there's 3 qualifying sessions. The first qualifying session, there's the full grid, and the top 15 will get through with the fastest times. Everyone below P15 will get eliminated, and the rest will proceed on to Q2. Q2 is similar, but only the top 10 get through with the fastest times, and the rest get eliminated. Moving on to Q3, that is where you'll be fighting for pole position and track position, and trying to get a good start onto the race.
Nicely done. It is also very important in Q2 to consider your tyre choice very, very carefully, because back in F1 2019 you could pick all 3 of the compounds. You can go for your soft compounds, you can go for your mediums or your hards. Freedom of choice. However, in F1 2020 they eliminated the choice for you to pick hards for the start. The only way you can start on those hard tyres is if you've been eliminated from Q2. So whatever tyre you manage to get into Q3 with will be your starting tyre for the beginning of the race, unless it's wet weather. If you've done a really belter of a lap on softs in Q2 and you start and it's wet, you will not be forced to start on softs. You'll be given the correct weather-appropriate tyre. And what's quite concerning is, Mason, 2 minutes into Q1 and not a single car has come out of the track. Come out of the pits onto the track. So I have a feeling we might be looking at some bad weather either coming our way in qualifying or coming our way in the race, because if it was fully dry, these lot will be out, just like that. But they took their time this time, which is something to raise concern.
Yeah, I saw that there. I saw the clouds starting to get a wee bit darker there, so maybe they've seen that there could be some sort of weather change maybe during the end of Q1 going on to Q2.
Oh, it's a wet race!
Oh dear.
This is going to be a juicy Grand Prix, especially the fact that it's wet. Oh! So, let's have a little talk on the Circuit de Paul Ricard. It's an old circuit, actually got modified. Some tracks recently have been altered to benefit more of the modern time. So, for example, Melbourne recently got altered, so the Albert Park has had its turn 9 and 10 chicane removed, and they've basically just made it a one-hole curve, and they've widened some curves as well. The Circuit de Catalunya, Spain. Their very tight hairpin at the end of the second sector has been completely removed as well. It is now a sort of a tight curve, so it's not a hairpin anymore, but you still got to watch yourself going in there, but it's also a prime overtaking opportunity. This used to be a very interesting sort of street circuit back in the day of old Formula 1, but then got altered and modernised to make it more suitable for modern day racing back in 2017. So the Circuit de Paul Ricard has seen many changes, but for a long while we didn't have really much of a French Grand Prix circuit.
A very interesting track, especially for overtaking with that long straight. But me personally, I just don't like the track. I seem to invalidate quite a lot on it, especially going into turn 2. I always seem to invalidate there, especially on no traction. It's really bad.
It's also that very tight little moment there at the border of the end of sector 1. Before and after, if you catch too much of the curb to the inside, run wide, or catch too much on the inside coming out of that curb, you will invalidate, and then you've just got to hoof it out for the rest of the lap. But for now, we're on board with Stygian. He's the first car on a lap to actually set a time. He's on the medium tyres, so he's just sort of getting a bit of a banker lap in. Done a pretty decent first sector so far, and he's got that AlphaTauri right there. I think that was Hardy or Little Sparks. I couldn't see which one that was at that point. Good, nice wide entry, riding a little bit of the outside curb, not touching the apex, but riding very close to it. This bit's very hard because you can go in flat out into the corner, but you have to start easing off on the throttle and eventually start applying some braking. You could try and maybe engine brake with the downshifting of gears, but that's not very good for the car. However, even if people did that in here, it wouldn't cause that much wear to the car itself. But if you're in your career mode, you will be hurting your money and the car as well.
Sturgeon doing a 30.0 there. Good lap on the mediums as well.
The benchmark of the day. Well, for the start of the qualifying session, we have to keep an eye on a couple of people here. Lukey and Muddy Biscuit. The championship battle between these two is really, really good. Dangerous Dan and JJ Hudson, also really good contenders to potentially fight for the championship, but right now it's just been two names. Well, it has been everyone included, but two names tend to pop up more than others.
Yeah, I'm looking at the grid. This will be, I think, the second time I've seen Div 2, and I recognise quite a lot of people that I used to race with a while ago, and it'll be interesting to see how well they do in Div 2, because I remember them being very good at the game.
And Muddy Biscuit had a really weird moment on that straight. His steering went very twitchy, which is unusual. I'm pretty sure you know then. Oh! Riplin One Shot has crashed in the second sector. That's our first car out of qualifying already. That means one person now will be joining Riplin One Shot out of Q1. Jeez, he hadn't even got really that far out on his outlap, and he's managed to DNF. I mean, it's not going to be end of the day. You can still get some good positions from the back, but you just got to be more careful.
Yeah, that's a wee bit frustrating for One Shot there. I would be very frustrated with myself if that was me.
Yeah, I was quite frustrated back in my race back in Canada. Started last, and I fought my way back up to 4th, which is very good. So you can still get some really good results.
And I was in that race as well.
Bit of a bad deal.
I didn't like that race.
Yeah.
And Mason Dunks 08. Yeah, so I was in that race as well. Didn't like it one bit. Started P11, finished P11. It was horrible.
Not a great race. I'm a little bit bummed to say that I'm most likely going to miss my chance around this track Thursday.
Oh yeah.
I got the race is at 8 o'clock, but I've got my COVID vaccine at 10 to 8. So, if I race back hard enough, I could actually probably make it for the race itself, but I'll miss quali.
As long as you make the race, that's the main thing. That's what I'd do. I'd want to race.
I'm hoping so, but if I miss it, then, unfortunately it is what it is, but, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I'm pretty sure I'll let someone know so they don't mark me off as a no-show, so they can understand my situation.
Into your hands anyway, since Toxic's gone.
It has. To be fair, I was quite surprised because I know obviously I put myself out there at the beginning of the season saying I was going to make a strong impression on an attacking. I was going to say this is my season. I think because of that strong... Oh, Sturridge, a 28-4. That's a good one.
Very good luck.
I think it's because of that first race in Australia. I think it sort of gave me a little bit of confidence to say, you know, I want this championship, and I do want it. But, you know, I also want to have fun as well, and the battle with Toxic was really, really great. I think he's a great guy. We had a good championship going, even though he had some races where he just commanded. But yeah, they got moved up to Division 3. Obviously, I was partially happy because that had awarded me the championship lead by default. But, you know, a part of me really wanted to have obtained that by, you know, outscoring him. So, you know, it's like a bittersweet victory in taking the lead.
Yeah. I mean, I think
It's the fun of the rivalry.
You'll definitely go up to the 3 at the end of the season. 100%.
Oh, be quick enough at Division 3. Meanwhile, the championship winner of Division 2 in Season 1, Magic Marks, he is in P11 with that 130.1 on the medium compound tyres. So right away, Mason, we're getting some interesting calls. Bit of a corner cut there from Magic Marks.
Getting some good times in here. Getting close.
Yeah. Looks like ABE Draco struggled to get a lap in though. He did a 39.7. He probably backed off near the end. You want to finish the rest of the onboard with Draco?
Yeah, I'll go for that. I'll wait until he's...
Down
Very
in
nice
14th position.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, turn 12. That's a very bad area to lock up, but gets a good exit going at a turn 12. Turn 13, right. Very nicely done. Locks up going into the final corner. Oh, and loses the back end and invalidates.
He's running it. That would have gotten him. He still would be P14 of that lap, but he would have beaten his time by nearly 9 seconds. But he's running no traction, I can tell. He went round the final corner, applied too much revs, and the car just kicked out like a bucking donkey. Like you know, like a bucking horse. Just, you know, didn't like it. Out goes the back, and then you feel the pain of the rears kicking out.
Yeah, no traction on this track's horrendous.
And they're in wet weather as well. I feel so sorry for Draco because if he's struggling to get traction in the final corner, dealing with the dry conditions, rain is just going to be an ice rink for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a complete madness, especially going into turn 1 and 2. Could possibly be a safety car on the first lap.
Right, Stygian has come back out and he's put on softs. The race winner back in Canada, hoping to make a good impression in France because, tell you what, Stygian hasn't seen the top spot in a while. And that win in Canada certainly was good for him. He had that pace. He is monumentally quick. So, Stygian on the charge. DRS enabled and on the go for his flying lap on soft, and he actually gets a 28.8, so a relatively good lap from Stygian. Lukey and Muddy Biscuit finish quite close together, so the championship rivals up there. Dangerous Dan, he's put himself into the top 3. He has some really good quali pace, so he's demonstrated it more than once. And actually JJ Hudson, good to see him back up there. These guys up here in Division 2, Mason, it's hard to put your finger on who's the quickest because I've seen races where Sturridge has been doing great, like today. JJ Hudson's been doing good. Dangerous Dan, Stygian, Lukey, Muddy. Like, there's no way of confirming who's going to be the fastest. You can only sort of roughly judge them by their pace that they've displayed so far in the season. I mean, Lukey and Muddy Biscuit definitely have been up there like prominently because they're in the championship battle at the top 2. But other people have showed them up, like Dangerous Dan back with his win back in China.
It just shows you that how close the league actually is, and there's no clear, fastest race in the league. It could literally be anyone's race, and anyone can take home that win.
I love that though. It's just that competition.
Very exciting.
S04 Wizard is the next car to go around the track. Is he going to go for another lap? Because he's charging up to the ERS. Oh, no. I don't think he can. His fuel light just came on.
Baco's on an outlap on the softs. Obviously trying to get that into Q2.
Rightio, so S04 Wizard has retired in the pits. He feels he's safe for Q1. We've got 2 minutes and 50 seconds. DRT Evo is the next car to try again for a lap, but he's going into the pits. I think he has enough time to slap on a set of softs and get back out there before it's too late, but he's at risk of being knocked out by Draco here because Draco's put on some softs.
Yeah, he's just on turn 12, nearly about to start his lap. It'll be a flyer.
There you go, you got some people retiring now. Sturridge, JJ Hudson, and the only person out so far of qualifying is Riplin One Shot. But the question is will Draco be joining him, or will Evo be joining him in the elimination zone? Find out now as AB Draco going through into turn 1, the very tight sort of chicane here. Don't catch too much of the Kirby inside and out because that will invalidate, but AB Draco actually got a really good launch through there. He is throwing the car through those corners, picking up monumental speed. That's really good pace being displayed by AB Draco in terms of quali pace. He's just throwing that car about. Onto the DRS zone. This is very difficult here because if you catch too much of those curves, especially with running no traction, that can upset the car. However, Draco doesn't seem phased. He's still on the power. He's still looking very good. Fastest second sector. So Draco is on a flying lap and a half here. And that's going to put Evo under tremendous pressure because Evo has just got 1 minute to get around the track and set a flying lap before it's too late. Draco just needs to improve enough, get himself into the low 30s, and he will secure himself a spot into Q2. But a decent first sector, fastest second sector, around the final corner. Hopefully he doesn't struggle with traction like he did before. Fortunately, he's still fine. A little bit of a wriggle from the rear. Crosses the line. Can AB Draco get himself a good spot at the end of Q1? He can. He gets a P9. So well done to AB Draco. Looks like it was a bit of a scary start to the qualifying for him. Gets up into P9 and is safe for Q2. But now let's put Magic Marks as a driver in danger because Evo is about to begin another flying lap.
Quite a lot of drivers going out on flying laps to secure their position into Q2 now.
Oh, Magic Marks is out to defend himself. Evo only just makes it with a second to spare to make a final attempt to try and get himself into Q2. If he fails this, it is game over and he'll be starting in 16th position for the start of the French Grand Prix. Pushing his way through the first sector, he's actually got some really good speed going through that chicane there. A little bit of a lock up there, but he's still fine. Magic Marks throws himself up into second place. Milan fourth. Evo goes a bit wide there, coming into the straight now. DRS enabled. This Mercedes driver needs to push fast and hard to secure himself a spot into Q2. Hardy currently being the driver in danger of being eliminated from Q1. He is currently on the track with his teammate Little Sparks. Just as I say, Hardy improves to 11th. Now Sparks in danger. And Steffi is I don't know. Well, he's sitting very closely. It's still all to play for with the time expired in Q1. Evo throwing into the fast right-hander. You can try and maybe apply just a tiny bit of braking, but not too much because you'll lose way too much time. Evo is really giving it all he can because if he fails here, no Q2. Steffi has now crossed the line with Breezy. Breezy up to 6th. Steffi on pole in Q1. AB Draco's now in danger of being eliminated. What can Evo do?
What a lap.
That was good driving from Evo. And you know what the sad part was? Is I thought Draco was safe. It turns out he wasn't anymore. Going over the drivers eliminated out of Q1 is Riplin one shot for not being able to set a time after crashing during his first lap in, well, his out lap in Q1. AB Draco, he sets a really good 29.3 in defence of it's a bit of a slow start to Q1, but sadly, DRT Evo found enough pace to push him out of Q1, and that's, you know, we can't forget how good of a job Draco did. That was a good lap from him. And then going over the top 3 is Magic Marks in 3rd, Sturridge 2nd, and Steffi. I tell you what, Mason, that last minute lap put Steffi on the top of the table for Q1. Do you reckon Steffi has a good chance here, possibly even getting the win today?
Definitely after that lap. That was an absolute flyover lap. Let's see how well she does in Q2. And going on to if she gets into Q3 fighting for that pole position.
And the best part is Steffi, he set the lap. When, you know, in Q1, the track's not really worn in enough. So,
yeah.
It's not as much grip as you'd want there to be, like, compared to Q3. And Steffi set a 28.1.
Shows you the potential. Very good potential going on to see if you can get that pole position and possibly go on and win the race.
Steffi did get the toe off Breezy though. That's a factor because I saw Breezy and Steffi were together, and but Breezy wasn't really the happy candidate because he wasn't getting any benefit from it at all. Steffi, pretty much being behind Breezy the entire way, just got the toe he needed to set an amazing lap. But that doesn't deny Steffi of being a skilled driver though. Steffi claimed his first podium the other week, so. I reckon he could go for a second consecutive podium or maybe even go for the win, especially with that pace. And now Q2.
Interesting to see what tyres the drivers choose. As I know, softs only last at least 5 laps in this track. The tyres weigh up quite a lot in this track, so it'd be quite interesting to see what tyres they choose.
Well, considering we're starting on the wet tyre, I don't know how long that rain will last. Mm-hmm. So it's a real question of what are the drivers going to do. This is a relatively harsh circuit in terms of degradation, especially when you're coming up to this curve. Like going on board of Mega Centurion here, if you're going flat out through this corner, pushing everything you've got, and this one coming up, it is harsh on the tyres. You'll be generating a lot of heat, you'll be generating a lot of friction, and that will in turn wear the rubber down more on the tyre. So we'll probably see a lot more wear on the front rights, maybe even on the rear lefts. In certain, it's hard to say. It's such a harsh track on everything. Some tracks, are harsh on just one side, but it's hard to call.
Yeah, it's just harsh everywhere. It's very hard to keep your tyres in good condition on this track.
And the main thing, especially with when you've got a wet race coming up but you've got a dry quali, is your gamble on your setup. What do you do? Is the rain going to last the entire way? Is it going to last half? Maybe even a quarter? It's hard to say. So you could use your dry, and it means in the early stages of the race, you're just going to have to persist with a dry setup and just hope that you survive. But then once that rain clears up and you're onto slicks, then you can really open up some pace. What would you do in that regard, Mason? Because that is probably one of the most difficult judgment calls to make in league racing, especially if Parc Ferme enabled.
Me personally, I'd probably take the gamble and go in the dry setup and hope to God that the track clears up and it's dry so you can start flying through, because everyone else will probably be on wet setups, so you can start flying and getting yourself up the grid.
What would you say is one of the worst tracks on the entire F1 calendar to get rain? Obviously, I know tracks like Bahrain and Abu Dhabi are very, very, very unlikely to get any form of rain at all, but the chance is still there. What would you say though would be a pain in the wets?
I'm still saying Canada. Canada was an absolute pain in the full wets. I did not like it one bit.
Canada, Monaco is actually quite bad in the rain. It's really hard enough with the braking zones in the dry, and when you're, for example, going through Pincenez to back, maybe even Mirabeau, it's such a pain. You have to brake up obviously much more earlier in the wet conditions. You got to extend your braking distance. That's just generally how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But Monaco being a very tight track in general, hitting the wall is more than likely, and then Canada, it's very hard to maintain good traction through corners.
And keeping on the track so you're not getting penalties added on to that.
Oh god, so many penalties happened in Canada on track. Some people got into the 20s.
I'm pretty sure Cornish nearly got disqualified from these penalties.
Yeah, Cornish did good though. He still managed to get to the end, but just that amount of penalties really did him in. It's the same with Charismix. It's the second time that second time in a row I've raced Charismix, and I've managed to get past him on penalties, because in Baku he was leading the way and I won with that 3-second penalty. Well, he had that 3-second penalty and I beat him only by a few tenths.
Yeah.
And I think I probably beat him around the same margin in Canada. So, depending on the track, it's so unforgiving. This track as well can be bad on penalties. So I will not be surprised if we do see a couple.
Cornish, yeah. We just need to find out. Let's
go on board with Dangerous Dan. This Merc has chosen a bold call in Q2, and he's put on mediums. With rain coming up, would you chance mediums, or would you say this is just a banker lap?
I'd probably say it's a banker lap just to see where he is, on what position he's going to get, and then maybe he might gamble and go in the softs. I don't know. I would have went out in the softs immediately, not went out in the mediums, and he's invalidated already. That's unfortunate.
Let's go on board of the other Merc of DRT Evo, who's now beginning his flying lap. He invalidated his first one, so he's trying again. Number 13 almost goes just as wide as Dangerous Dan did, but luckily does not invalidate. Pushes through the first sector zone, rides a little bit of that curb, almost too much to nearly get invalidated, but he's still safe. Evo did put in a really good lap at the end of Q1, which secured his position in Q2, which I think Evo will be pretty pleased with, because he's not had the best of luck when it comes to qualifying. And I'm pretty sure he's hoping to get into Q3, if not get into Q3, at least minimalise the damage that he could receive. So, wishing Evo all the best in this lap. He's looking pretty good though, so I'm not going to jinx him. Fuel lights on, so he has under-fueled to maximise the performance for this lap. So, Evo is rolling the dice. Comes with a strategy call.
He's just sending it.
It's a little late on the power there. You could tell the car was a little unsettled there. Still pushing. Now to the final corner. Brakes and locks up a little bit, but on the power perfectly. Pushing forward to the start finishing straight. Evo pushes himself up to P10. So Evo looking like he probably would want to be higher, but 29.4, that's a good lap.
Good lap, but he's still in the danger zone in that P10 position. Still got the chance to get knocked out and not get into Q3.
Stygian's made a bit of a bold call. He's gone and done 2 laps on those softs. And the 29 dead, just a tiny bit faster than Little Sparks and Centurion. Interesting to see what he can do. What's his idea? Especially with that rain. Everyone's running into the unknown.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows what's going to happen in this race.
While everyone's still tackling some laps, let's have a little talk about real Formula 1 for the moment.
Okay.
You got Imola coming up. I'm personally excited for when Imola comes to the F1 games. It'll be coming in F1 2021. I love Imola as a track in general, and we finally get to use it as a Grand Prix, hopefully in the next season of RSF1. What's your opinion on how the San Marino Grand Prix is going to go?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to go well, especially for Ferrari, and obviously their shocker of their season last year. They're not performing well, especially in their home tracks in Italy. So I'm hoping for a good race, and especially a good race for Ferrari.
Are you as I could probably hear, you are a Ferrari fan?
Yeah, just because I like Charles Leclerc. He's my #1 driver.
No, I respect that. Charles Leclerc is a really, really good driver. He's brilliant laps back in Belgium, Monza, and Singapore back in 2019. Oh, Sturridge, 28.5. So a quick lap from Sturridge instantly puts himself up there, and I reckon that's a safety lap. That's good. It's good protection there for him. He will get through to Q3 of that, I feel. Me personally, I would like to see Pierre Gasly have another go, because back in 2020, he actually was really, really good around Monza, and then he had that really bad luck of having to retire early, and also that Ayrton Senna helmet he had on, like, the inspiration because of the Senna Foundation. It was genuinely a beautiful helmet, and yeah, it's just a shame to see that happen to Pierre Gasly. So I get to see him have a second chance, but I'm more excited to see what Yuki Tsunoda can do.
He had a very good race in Bahrain. He showed what he can do, and I think he's definitely up there. And I think maybe he could get his first podium this season. I think, me personally.
It's Staties XD in the chat.
Yeah, just ignore him.
Yeah, please refrain from harassing our commentators. If you wish to continue that path, you will be dealt with in course by our moderators, so warning. Right. Caesar 2 Wizard. Alfa Romeo. He's getting tow from his teammate, Mega Centurion, so there's a little bit of strategy work going on there between the two Alfa Romeo.
Oof.
Look at that! That is perfectly coordinated between Mega Centurion and Caesar. Let's just hope Caesar can keep this momentum going for a good flying lap, because we remember how powerful the tow was for Steffi back in Q1 when he took top of the table thanks to the tow he got from Breezy. Caesar's done the fastest second sector. Still looking quite well.
Yeah.
Caesar 2 Wizard. Pushing around the final couple of corners. There's a racing point. What can Caesar do? This is the apex quite nicely. Hopefully he doesn't affect his traction. A little bit of a problem there getting on the power, but Caesar 2 Wizard pushes down the start-finish straight. What can he do? He crosses the line, P4 with a 28.6 and only 0.02 of a second behind JJ Hudson.
Things are getting very close. I wonder what it's going to be like in Q3.
Oh my god, I'm looking forward to this, but there's a slight issue now for certain drivers. Lukey, who's battling for the championship right now, is having a bit of a problem. He's invalidated this lap. He needs to get around in time once more. He's not going to have the prime grip from these softs anymore. His championship rival is up in P5. Lukey is potentially at risk, Mason, of being eliminated.
Yeah, that's the bit. I think he's invalidating on turn 2, where it's especially where I'm invalidating on. So I think he might need to take it a wee bit more carefully and just getting that lap in, see what he can do.
We'll come back to Lukey in just a brief moment because we've got quite a few people out on track. JJ Hudson feels P3 is good enough. He feels he is safe where he is. Going on board now with Lil Sparks, who's currently in 10th position, and he is fighting to hold his way and get into Q3, but currently 10th position, he is in the danger zone. He's got Magic Marks, Breezy, Evo, Dangerous Dan and Lukey behind him, and I'm pretty sure one of them is going to be putting enough pressure on him for the remainder of this session. 1 minute left. Currently right now, the top 4 out of them, only Sturridge has stayed in the session. The other 3 have retired. They feel safe where they are. Lil Sparks pushing through the 3rd sector.
I was just saying it's a wet race.
Oh, if it's wet all the way, that is going to be a juicy one. And I'm excited for that.
Going to be very tough on the drivers.
Yeah, he'll be very harsh on them, especially the wheel users. They'll be fighting like hell to keep good traction. Muddy Biscuit, a 28.3 on board Lil Sparks. Can he get himself a good starting position for Q3? He puts himself 2nd. Oh, Season, JJ, well, that lot might not be safe after all. We'll go back on board with Lukey. He's battling for a good starting position in Q3. He needs this for the championship battle. If he gets knocked out in Q2, it's not over, but he will have a lot of work ahead of him. Dangerous Dan, a 28.1. Another time venturing into the low 28s.
Steffi
and a
was up 3
Mercedes
tenths
puts
there.
himself on top.
Steffi's on a flyer here. She was up 3 tenths.
Evo! Where did that come from?
It's going to be a good lap from Steffi, I think.
This is going to be close.
Oh.
The championship battle. Lukey's going around the final corner. He needs to get this lap done. He needs a good starting position for Q3. Can he get himself up into the top 10 for the top 10 shootout? No, he can't. Lukey is out of Q2. The championship rival for Muddy Biscuit is out. Magic Marks crosses the line. What can he do? He goes 3rd fastest.
Hardy next.
What can Hardy do? Alpha Tauri's already got 1 driver in. Can it make it 2?
No.
Oh,
unfortunate.
Just a little bit off.
That's it.
And Caesar 2 Wizard. You have to feel for him. The beautiful teamwork between the 2 Alfa Romeos. And they both go out.
This is going to be a very interesting Q3. All the times very, very close.
Oh, that was a really, really, like, almost a nail-biting Q2 there.
This genuinely puts us to shame. This genuinely puts our division to shame, because ours genuinely won't be as close, I don't think.
I have to say, though, I thought JJ Hudson was more than safe for that lap, but he only just barely made it through to Q3.
Oh, just.
Crikey, look at that. The time from P1 to P14 was only separated by 0.7 of a second. That's close.
That's incredible.
Right, well, going over the drivers eliminated from Q2, you got Stygian out in 15th position, Lukey out in 14th position, Mega Centurion 13th, and Caesar 2 Wizard out in 12th. So both the Alfa Romeos out in Q2, and Hardy joins them out in Q2 in 11th position. Meanwhile, the top 3 is Magic Marks once again in the top 3. Steffi in 2nd. Again, that's his 2nd time in a row he's gotten into the top 3 in qualifying. And Dangerous Dan. But he takes the top spot this time. Is it okay if you try and invite Dangerous Dan back?
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Meanwhile, while we wait for Q3, If you haven't seen already, the Nightbot putting in a link to a GoFundMe page is for a person in our league, Shrimper. He's currently battling cancer right now. It's very, very harsh on him, but he is persistent to fight through it and beat cancer, and we're all cheering him on. If you want to show your support, please give him some love in the chat. But if you want to go that extra mile in giving him some support, please, can you make a donation to him? It doesn't have to be much. Any donation is helpful to help Shrimper with his treatment in this battle against cancer, because no one should fight cancer alone. We all need to stand side by side here when it comes to fighting through it. So please give some support in the chat, give him some love, and if you are willing to take that extra step, there's no judgment if you can't, please make a donation, because it can go a very, very long way.
Quite a lot of drivers out at the start of Q3 already.
Yeah, Magic Marks leading the pack now.
Yeah.
Interesting question now for you, Mason.
Okay.
Your top three. What's your prediction for the start of for the end of Q3? Who do you reckon is going to take the top 3 spots?
I think in third I'm gonna go for Steffi. Second I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for Milan in second, and first I'm gonna go for Sturridge.
Interesting. Mine's a little different. I think Steffi. I agree with Steffi. I think Steffi will get second place.
Okay.
Third, I reckon it will be Magic Marks. I seeing how quick Dangerous Dan was there. I reckon Dangerous Dan could actually take pole here. Obviously, I know I'm a Mercedes driver. I'm being, completely neutral in here, but it's been a little bit since I've seen Dangerous Dan actually establish himself up on the top spot like that. I haven't seen that since China. So I'm very interested to see if he can do it again. So yeah, I'm going to have to say Marks, Steffi, and Dangerous Dan.
Eyes is saying Dan, Evo and Breezy for his top 3. That's his prediction.
Any more predictions from you guys in the chat, please? Don't be afraid to chuck one in there like Eyes the Best did. You're more than welcome to agree with our opinions or chuck out your own opinion. There's no harm in it. Meanwhile, I'm bored of Magic Marks. Would you like to take this one, Mason?
Where is it?
P5.
There we go. Let me get this thing up. Okay, here we go. Taking this chicane very smoothly. Quick on the acceleration there. Flat out, going in fastest in the second sector. Flat out round. Nicely done, heading into turn 12. Goes on to turn 12, very nicely done, easy on the brakes, hard on the acceleration. Turn 13, very nicely done as well. Final corner, no lockups, quickly on the acceleration. Flat out, and does a 28.7.
That's a good time, though. Breezy, 28.4. Oh! Sturridge. Oh, he's replicated what he did in Q1.
I think we're going to get some 27s on the board.
Oh, we will. If they hit a 28.1 that quick, it's bound to be a 27. A high 27, maybe even a mid.
Definitely.
So, the 3 drivers that could potentially do that is, whoa, Steffi, 28. I was about to say, Steffi, Milan, and Dan are definitely some drivers that are potentially fast enough to get into the high 27s. On board of Dangerous Dan, though, is he going to accomplish that feat?
I think he could. Looks like a good lap so far from Dan.
Let's see what he can do. Round the tight left-hander, now through to the final corner. Bit of a wide berth going into the final corner, but he gets on the power. Sometimes the wide entries can give you a little bit more thrust going down the final straight. 27, no, he gets a 28.5, so that's enough to put him in 5th position. JJ Hudson gets a 28.3, so Red Bull currently making a very good start for the race if they can maintain the top 3 positions where they are. Meanwhile, Sturridge slots in between.
I think Milan's not across the line. Yeah.
He invalidated his first lap, but fortunately had enough fuel to go again. And the Scuderia get across the line good enough to get a nice starting position for the race. E7. I think he could have gone faster, but with the worn tyres and running out of fuel and stuff, I reckon that might have hampered him a little bit. I reckon he can go again and maybe put in another fast time. We'll come back to S04 Milan, but going back on board with the man that staggered me, to be honest. Evo got into the top 3 really in Q2. I've not seen Evo do that. So this could be a good track for him.
Maybe it's one of his most confident tracks in the calendar. So going into this race, you'll feel the possibility of getting some good points here.
Good work to the AlphaTauri on moving out of the way for DRT Evo into turn 12. That looks quite nice there. Not catching too much curb. Good traction. Now through the left-hander. Now importantly, the final corner. Oh, bit of a lock-up there. What can DRT Evo do? 28.6. Tell you what, that's still a good lap.
I think that's everyone going into the pits now.
And now we wait.
Now we wait to see who can get pole position. 4 minutes 37 on the clock left.
Milan's out of fuel and just limping his Ferrari back home. Evo's got enough time to go around, go back to the pits, put on some new softs if he has some, and go again. And it looks like a McLaren's finally left the pit, so I was waiting for someone to make the move. And it is Muddy Biscuit. And now we wait for the championship leader to get himself around the track and see where he will start for the Grand Prix. And now we have to put a little bit of money on some, well, not actual money, but, you know, just a little bit of fun. Do you think Muddy Biscuit can uphold his clean streak? Because throughout the season, I've not seen him collect a single penalty through corner cutting or exceeding track limits. Obviously, you can get penalties through contact or speeding. That just happens to the best of everyone. But a track limit or corner cutting penalty, I've not seen him collect once. Do you reckon that'll end today, or he can keep that little streak going?
I think he can keep it going. Like, that is a very, very impressive talent to have, not picking up any penalties from corner cutting. I think he can keep it going. I want to see how long he can keep it going. It'll be very interesting to see how long he can.
He's definitely one of the most consistent drivers I've ever seen in league racing. He's got good pace, and he's just generally a very tidy driver.
That's very, very good as well. Like, not picking up any penalties and everyone else picking up penalties in front of you. That gives you that good chance to get higher up in the board to see and get more and more points. Hopefully, maybe a podium or a win.
Right, on board with Muddy Biscuit as he goes back to put on one more flying lap. It's his final opportunity to get a good starting position, otherwise he'll be looking at P10. Oh, he's got some Renaults in front of him. Hopefully they don't impede his lap. Fortunately, they both get out of the way just in the nick of time, so very good job to Breezy and Sturridge. A lock up there from Muddy. And he's actually up in his time. This could be a good one, Mason.
Yeah, he's up in his time, he's feeling confident. Getting a wee bit of a... No, he's not. I thought he was going to get a wee bit of a toe there. Moved out the way. That was Hudson.
Liking the respect between the drivers, staying out the way, giving the flying lap cars the space. Obviously, that is staying with the rules, and that's what we like to see. People obeying the rules. AB Draco's left this session. Hopefully, try and get him back in.
Yeah.
Muddy's still on the charge. I didn't get to see his second sector time. I'm hoping he was going quicker. Now to turn 12. And Muddy Biscuit will need this. A minute left of the session. This is all he can do now. This final opportunity to get himself a good starting position for the race to benefit from Lukey's elimination from Q2. What can Muddy Biscuit do? Oh, he goes P4. Very good work. Now you got the Renault of Breezy, who's following just behind him, and Breezy has proven he's a really quick driver when it comes to quali pace. Can the Renault achieve that at the team's home Grand Prix? Fastest first sector. Breezy is on a really, really good lap here. He's actually giving a toe to a Red Bull again. Could that be Steffi? That's the end of Q3 now. The only car who can't get back around again to do another lap is DRT Evo. That's his day done. Muddy Biscuit can't also go again. He could be, for all I know, but at the moment, he will not be able to do another lap. Breezy, second sector, fastest second sector, so he is really on one here. That Red Bull, however, has not been shaken off. It's still getting in the toe from that Renault.
Dangerous starting and validating. That's unfortunate. He was on a good lap there.
Oh, so he'll be starting P6, so not a good day for the Mercs. But Breezy, he could capitalise from DRT Evos and Dangerous Dance. Unfortunate mistakes in Q3. What can Breezy do? At 28 dead! He only beats JJ Hudson by a minor margin.
Steffi's up a 10th on her time. This is going to be a 27.
Sturridge, a 28 dead, but 3/100ths of a second faster than his teammate.
I think Steffi's going to get pole here. I think it's going to be a 27. Just.
Oh, yes, we got on a 27. And I'd say we could get a high 27. Steffi Weffy Gamer has put the Renault to shame with Honda Power on the top of the table.
Very, very
cool.
Impressive lap.
Tell you what, the Red Bull being a very, very interesting bread there with the Renault filling. That's going to be an interesting battle going into turn 1. Two teams clashing it out. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be a very, very good race. Very interesting to watch.
Right, going over the top 10 for Q3. So Magic Marks will be starting at the bottom of the top 10 for the start of the race. He'll be in 10th position. DRT Evo 9th. Dangerous Dan 8th. The championship leader Muddy Biscuit is in 7th position. So he is still a decent margin ahead of Lukey, but he probably wished he would have been up further. FFR Milan gets P6, so very good work from the Ferrari driver there. Lil Sparks 5th. JJ Hudson 4th, just missing out on the top 3 there because Steffi improving on pole. Breezy 3rd, Sturridge 2nd, and as I already just said there, Steffi on pole. So this is going to be a very, very interesting start because all these drivers are on dry setups. They could be relying on the fact that maybe, just maybe, it could dry up near the end. So they're going to have a very difficult start for the launch off the line. If you're on a dry setup, your traction, you're going to wheel spin a lot, like Scooby-Dooing, waiting to get off the line.
Yeah, Breezy's saying that Steffi's on a dry setup, so maybe everyone else was on a wet setup, so maybe that's fallen into their hands or Steffi's hands, you never know.
Right, if anyone's wondering, why are we sitting on this screen? Why aren't we getting going with the race? This is the transition period. So this is the moment between Q3 and the formation lap. This is the moment where the drivers can go over their strategies. They can slightly alter their setup, but they can't do the full thing because of parc fermé. You can alter like a bit of a wing, maybe some of your tyre pressures, and your brake bias. That's it. Yeah, you can go over your fuel. You can change your tyre strategy of Jeff if you like, or you can confer with your teammate if you're talking with them in a party. And most importantly, though, we wait on the host. So the host being Lukey, of course. When we wait for him to ready up, then we can get this Grand Prix going. In accordance to the RSF1 rulebook, anyone who readies up before the host will be dealt with after the Grand Prix. And, would you like the honours, Mason, to do the formation lap?
Yeah, I'll do the formation lap. Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
What can we do here? This is... I don't think I recall ever doing... Well, I think I have maybe once, but I don't think I ever recall doing a wet France. At least not fresh in my memory.
Better God, if our race on Thursday's wet, I'm gonna cry.
Pablo says in the chat, Lukey W incoming, so he's got full confidence in Lukey, but he's also saying AB Draco maybe. So he's got his 2 choices on drivers for taking the win potentially. Maybe the reason why some drivers couldn't be able to get into maybe the 27s or the 28s, highs or lows, sorry. Maybe they're running a very balanced setup, because when I was in F4 in Season 3, I ran a mixed setup, so it was made to be between, to work with both wet and dry conditions, and I qualified 2nd. That was just, I think probably I just got lucky there in that lap, but I was flying in the intermediate conditions. Maybe some drivers have adapted that as well. Maybe they've got a setup that works perfectly in both conditions.
Quite possibly, or some people may be running the full wet setup, and that's why they had quite a bad qualifying, and hopefully the weather plays into their hands and it stays wet the full race.
Pablo, yes, you can join the league. If you look at the website link by Nightbot, https //racingseriesf1.com, you'll be able to apply to join the league through there. Also, if you are on Xbox, please message RSF1 Shane, RSF1 Shane 0407, and he will be able to recruit you into the league, and then we'll be able to see you on the grid. But in the meantime, I pass off to Mason Dunk, who will now do the formation lap for the French Grand Prix.
Okay, so in P17 we have One Shot who crashed in Q1. In P16 we have Draco. In P15 we have Stygian. P14 we have the Racing Point of Lukey. P13 is Mega Centurion. P12 is Caesar 2 Wizard. P11 is Hardy. P12 is Magic Mark. P9 is Evo. P8 is Dangerous Dan with a very good qualifying performance. P7 we had the Championship leader Muddy Biscuit starting in P7. P6 we have FFR Milan. P5 we have Sparks. P4 we have JJ Hudson. We have Breezy and Sturridge both in P3 and P2 for Renault. And with a very impressive Q3, we have Steffi Gamer who starts on pole position.
Nicely done. And this is going to be very, very scary for both drivers. The pressure is on because both the Renault being up in the top 3 in their home Grand Prix, obviously they're going to give it their all at the Circuit de Paul Ricard. Red Bull, however, hold both angles, one up front, one at the back. It is intermediate, so it's not exactly full wets, but it could be wet for majority of the Grand Prix. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of standing water on the track, so I highly doubt anytime soon we'll be seeing those inters coming off. But regardless, it's going to make for an interesting start to the French Grand Prix. Lukey has got a little bit of work to do, and he has to be very careful because in the wet conditions, some people will struggle to get off that line, and it's quite cramped on that straight. So he's just got to take it nice and easy, build up those positions, and then he could possibly fight Muddy Biscuit, but that's a gamble he's got to take. And here we go. The grid is now lining up in their slots. And now we wait for the car of Riplin One Shot to get into his grid slot to get the French Grand Prix going for Division 2. Here we go for the French Grand Prix in RSF1 Season 4. And it's lights out and away we go. And it looks like Steffi has a little bit of trouble getting off the line. That allows Sturridge to get a really good pull off on the line of the launch. Sturridge round the outside on Steffi going into turn 1. Sturridge takes the lead of the French Grand Prix for Renault, but he gets a bit of a poor exit from turn 2. Steffi retakes the lead, but now Breezy's making the attack on the Red Bull. And JJ Hudson is on the gearbox of Sturridge, who just unfortunately suffered a little bit from that exit on turn 2. Clean as we go through the first couple of corners, that's what we like to see. No crashes in turn 1.
Very, very good start from Steffi there, getting away from the line. Sturridge very unlucky going on to turn 2 there, could have taken the lead there, but unfortunately falls back to P3.
And after going past this little chicane here, we'll go over the grid in a quick manner. So going from this spot in the first lap of the French Grand Prix, it goes Steffi in first. Oh, it looks like we had a problem down the back of the grid. That's Caesar 2 Wizard.
No wing damage. No good.
Aye. Spun out most likely. Anyways, yeah, sorry. It is Steffi in first, Breezy second, Sturridge third, JJ Hudson fourth, FL Milan fifth, Sparks sixth, Magic Mark seventh, Muddy Biscuit eighth, Stygian ninth, and looks like we have Centurions in 10th, Dangerous Dan 11th, Hardy 12th, Lukey 13th, and he's building up those places. Riplin One Shot 14th, Draco 15th, Evo 16th, and trickling behind by just a couple of corners is Caesar 2 Wizard.
One Shot having a good start to the race so far, starting P17, now he's up into P14. Putting pressure on his teammate Lucky.
Hard to say what the weather conditions are going to be like for the remainder of the Grand Prix. All we know is it could be inters all the way. And right now Red Bull have got the perfect start. Steffi is slightly pulling away from Breezy. And it looks like Breezy is also pulling away from his teammate.
Starting to get congested in the middle of the field.
On board with ABE Draco. He is on the gearbox of the Racing Point of Riplin One Shot. Could he get a nice little tow from the Racing Point going down the straight? He's not going to use any of his ERS. So I guess for the moment he's like, nah. I says I hear full wets, so rain intensifying?
Quite possibly.
Muddy Biscuit, championship leader. Making a very bold move, sticking on the gearbox of Magic Marks. He's going to stick it down the inside. Marks tries to cover him off, and he does. He shuts the door on the McLaren for the moment. Muddy Biscuit will have to just choose another opportunity and attack again once it's safe to do so.
Could be a little bit of a strategy between the two Renaults. Maybe Sturridge getting told to hold up Hudson while Breezy chases after Steffi.
Well, it's working perfectly because Breezy's pulling away from his own teammate.
Definitely working. These are two buzzers.
JJ Hudson
starting to come up to the back at Evo.
SFR Milan's getting in on this action because JJ Hudson's being held up by the Renault. He's going to try and maybe get a little look down the inside at the end of the first sector zone. A little bit of contact. It sends the rear end of the Red Bull for JJ Hudson out. It looks like Sturridge backed off to let him catch up. They're just clashing. Touching wheels going into the straight. It's going to be a drag race of who's got the best setup, and that's allowed the Ferrari to come into play. JJ Hudson moves up into third position. Sturridge, however, needs to get back onto attacking and get that third place back. But FFR Milan says, nah, you mucked up. I'm coming in. I'm going to make that attack. But for the moment, Sturridge defends, keeps the Ferrari at bay, and that's allowing the AlphaTauris to get into a little bit of this action, and soon the Williams of Magic Marks will follow.
Good couple of laps so far. Kept it very interesting, very entertaining to watch so far. Let's hope it stays that way.
It's quite clean. I mean, no shenanigans in turn one, so that's all we like to see. Other than a little spin from Caesar 2 Wizard on the first lap, it's been a very good couple of laps so far, and hopefully it continues to get better.
DJ starting to catch up on Steffi, starting to push that Renault to its limit.
Oh, it looks like FFR Milan might now try and make the move once again. He's got the ERS on in the slipstream of the Renault. Mega Centurions battling Muddy Biscuit down the start-finish straight. It looks like Muddy Biscuit's got the inside line. They're going to battle it out. And Muddy Biscuit holds it going into the first chicane. Very nicely done by Muddy Biscuit. Meanwhile, FFR Milan is still pressuring Sturridge. Sturridge is struggling to make back the ground he's lost to JJ Hudson. Dangerous Dan. He's made up some good ground. Looks like he's also lost some positions from that start as well. Yeah, he lost a few positions. Yeah. A car that's benefited hugely from this is Stygian. He's up in 10th place from P15.
Very good start from Stygian. Very good start, very impressive.
Back on board with Dangerous Dan, however, keeping Stygian honest. And I have to say, you've got to give the guys credit here where it's due. The amount of space and respect they're giving each other down this straight. So they're not making ambitious dive bombs or or anything like that. They're just choosing to be safe. And I have to tell you, I know obviously some people want to see that kind of action because it makes it very juicy. But for them, in wet conditions, it's best not to take your chances. It's better to just lose out on one position than lose out on all of it.
Yeah, good respect they're giving each other, keeping it clean, making sure everyone's going to have a good, enjoyable race at least, even though in the wet conditions, trying to make it more enjoyable as possible.
Very good work, though, from FFR Milan. He has not been shaken off. The first car to collect a penalty on lap 5 of 27 is Riplin One Shot. I'll tell you what, that's very... that's one of the latest times I've actually seen a penalty come through. So that could mean that we might not see that many today.
No, I don't think we'll see many, especially in the wet conditions. Everyone will be taking corners more carefully than what they would do in dry conditions.
And yet again, Milan just can't seem to get past Sturridge. It seems like on the straight, Sturridge has got the straight line speed to keep that that Ferrari behind him. But I don't think in terms of a drag race, that Ferrari's got the oomph it needs to make the pass. Oh! Little bit of a wiggle from Sturridge's Renault there. Ooh. Milan is having a little peek. Agreed there with Unity Hush. Or RSF1 Hush, sorry. Steffi got some really good pace. He's actually extending his lead bit by bit. Breezy's struggling to close the gap.
Falling into Steffi hands here. Hopefully managing to keep this pace up, and this will hopefully maybe get a good race win here and good points on the table.
I can't really go off of FFR Milan at the moment. He's had moments where he keeps on getting extremely close to that Renault. But then, like, just when I'm on him, he like ready to commentate on this battle, he backs off, or he just doesn't have enough time or track. So let's keep on board of him though, because he's looked like he's got a really good run compared to Sturridge. The question is can he make this attack now? Oh, he's very close. He's very, very close indeed. He's now going to go side by side, but even he actually needs the toe to give him that thrust, but he's got no battery left.
Yeah, Sturridge still got 50% and Milan's only got 13%.
Looks like while Milan's been pushing, Sturridge has only been doing that just to keep the Ferrari back. Maximise Renault's points of a 2-4, maybe even hopefully get a 2-3, depending on what happens with JJ Hudson.
Good battle between the Renaults and the Red Bulls and that Ferrari of FFR Milan.
Now let's go back on board with Mega Centurion, who's now putting some pressure on Muddy Biscuit. He looks like he's eager to make the move. A little bit of a touch there on the rear of Muddy's McLaren. He's making a move round the outside. It looks like Muddy gets a little bit of contact, but still okay. ERS active. Can Mega Centurion make the move into turn 1 on the championship leader to move up into 8th position? I think Muddy's defending with some battery. And Mega Centurion will have to wait.
The pack is still very close from Sturridge all the way down to P17, still very close between everyone. Good tight racing.
It's hard to keep track on one battle to do because everyone's within 0.5 of a second of each other.
Yeah. Centurion, I think, maybe had a good-ish run on Muddy Biscuit there, but he's lost it and he's picked up a penalty as well in the making of that.
Oh, that's going to hurt. Meanwhile, it looks like we could be seeing a battle once again between Milan and Sturridge. But it just looks like Sturridge holds off for the moment. No. Milan almost got the move done there. He's sending it.
Oh.
Well, it looks like with the better traction from the corner, the switchback from the Ferrari. Sturridge leaves room on the outside. And Milan is desperate to get the move done. A slight touch of the wheels going into the second to last corner. Really good room left there by Sturridge with the Ferrari. So now the Ferrari's going to have the outside line going into the final corner. Contact once again. It's a drag race down the start-finish straight. But it looks like FFR Milan got the move done, but Sturridge has got the better battery and he'll retaliate going back into turn 1. Sturridge retakes 4th position, but FFR Milan ain't making it easy going into the chicane. He holds the inside. There's a little bit of contact, but he manages to save the car from a little bit of a moment there, and Sturridge retakes 4th position.
Milan becoming under pressure from Sparks here. Managing to hold the line.
It looks like that little moment there between them two going side by side into that opening chicane, it might have affected him. Affected Milan, I mean. And it just lost him just a tiny bit of time, and that allowed little sparks to come into play, as you said. But well, I'm waiting to see when the rain intensifies. But Milan, he's held on for so long, and on that lap there, he finally gave himself that extra little push he needed to attack Sturridge, to try and get himself up into the top 4.
Steffi's got the gap to 6 seconds now between him and Breezy. Very good race pace here from Steffi.
Meanwhile, at the back, Caesar 2 Wizard and Lukey are battling it out. It's the championship runner-up versus Caesar 2 Wizard. Caesar's got the inside line. Lukey almost leaves space, but then Caesar falls out of the racing line, goes wide, and has to concede for just this moment. And in that moment, Mega Centurion passed Muddy Biscuit. Magic Marks pits. And S04 Milan's actually made the pass. He's made the pass on Sturridge. I took my eyes off of it for 1 second.
He only got 10% of VRS to defend himself on the straight, where Sturridge has 38%, so Sturridge could maybe regain his position here.
Are we going to see more? Are we going to see the Inters staying as they are, or his eyes speaking the truth and he says could be seeing some full wets? We'll find out soon, but looks like S04 Milan now finally able to pass Sturridge. That's what S04 Milan could do, and he's now slightly pulling away from the Renault.
Hudson getting ever so closer to Breezy now. Might see a battle between Hudson and Breezy in the next coming laps.
Oh, yep. Mega Centurion on the charge. Sorry to cut in there. Down the inside going to the end of this second straight. Oh, it's contact with Little Sparks and it's sent a half spin for the Alfa Romeo. Luckily, I know he's fallen down a few positions, but he's not crashed out. He's not got damage. The Alfa Romeo driver can go again and try and get that lost pace back, but he is falling down the grid by a lot there. For a moment there, Mega Centurion was battling really well for P7, so for P6, but that contact there of Little Sparks sent him tumbling down the order.
Legends putting Dan under some pressure here, going for the dive bomb. They're going to stick? No. Maybe. Might get him in the straight.
Oh, Mercedes versus McLaren. Oh, look at the switchback. And Dan just shuts that door on him. Stygian has to wait. This is really good defence and attacking from these drivers.
Yeah, and above all, they've kept it clean. No damage so far that I've seen between drivers. The fight between Sturridge and Milan's helped Hudson a lot, as Milan's is now 5 seconds behind Hudson, and Hudson only 1.4 seconds behind Breezy, so this has played well into the Red Bull team's hands.
It's gaining as well. He's, thanks to that clean air, he's managed to make up some ground, but Steffi has extended his lead even further in the French Grand Prix.
Very impressive.
Question is can Steffi keep that going? And here we go. Dangerous Dan now pits. It looks like the Inters can only really go on for about 10 laps or so before they start to fall off. Centurion boxes as well, so this could start triggering some drivers to go in.
All eyes are on Steffi and when he's going to pit.
Well, considering Steffi's had the clean air and He's not been under as much pressure. I reckon his tyres might be doing a little bit better than the people behind him. But I think that's what some people are kind of waiting on, to see his reaction. Is he going to do it? Because slowly but surely, Breezy is maintaining the gap, but just as I said it, he's now fallen off by a couple of tenths of a second. So I think Breezy's now starting to lose it a little.
Are they picking up a 3-second time penalty? Be the third driver to do so.
Oh, we've had an off. That's DRT Evo. He's spun on the straight. Luckily, no damage, able to keep moving, and that's allowed Magic Marks the free pass on fresh intermediate tyres. That could play beautifully for Magic Marks. He could reclaim some positions if he can keep this pace going and cut the gap between himself and Draco. He needs to catch up, and that train is very close together. And the race leader, who's just been shooting away, has finally responded to the pit stops and has gone in. Meanwhile, Breezy's gone in. JJ Hudson stays out. There you go. It looks like most of the field is going into the pits. And that allows JJ Hudson to take the lead of the French Grand Prix. Sturridge to push back up to second. Muddy Biscuit up to third. Question is can Magic Marks benefit from this? It doesn't look like he could benefit much from this.
Steffi's came out in P6 with the freshest tyres, and Hope has a net P1 when everyone else goes into the pits for their first stop, sorry.
This is very, very good strategy calls here. Caesar 2 Wizard collects a 3-second time penalty. And it looks like Steffi is now gaining on the Alfa Romeo. Caesar's done good to recover after that first lap sort of spin. It's fresh inters versus 11 lap old inters, so it's pretty clear on the who's got the advantage here.
Wonder if JJ Hudson will come in this lap for his fresh set of intermediate tyres.
It definitely can't last to the end of the Grand Prix. Magic Marks looks like currently he's net P3.
Hudson's in the pits as Sturridge and Muddy Biscuit in the follow. Sturridge is, and so is Muddy Biscuit, yeah. Ricky is also going into the pits followed by Caesar 2 Brothers, so Steffi's going to have that P1 again.
Nice work by Steffi. He retakes the lead of the French Grand Prix and now continues to soar off into the opening corners. Meanwhile, Breezy, on the fresher tyre, benefits, gets past JJ Hudson. JJ Hudson going to have a slight disadvantage coming out the pits with colder tyres. He needs to get them up to temperature very quickly, and then he can get some pace in and put some pressure on Breezy, but there's only a 1 lap difference between the pair of them. Evo could be playing into Magic Mark's hands here. Evo stayed out on those inters, and he could potentially hold up people behind him, and that could allow Magic Marks to build up a bit of a gap between himself and Evo, and maybe look like getting a 4th place finish.
Unfortunate for Sturridge there, coming out in P11, stuck behind a big pack of drivers as well, so he's going to have to try fight his way through this pack to try and see if he can get himself a podium.
Oh, Mega Centurion and Little Sparks battled it out once again, but this time a little bit before their previous encounter, where Mega Centurion suffered a half spin and fell down the grid. This time he comes out on top ahead of the AlphaTauri.
Evo on these old intermediates, but still coming up to the back of Magic Marks.
still finding grip. Steffi once again, fastest lap of the race, and is flying. Oh! Been contact! A Stygian! Something happened to Stygian on the final corner.
I'm trying to look if they have wing damage.
Yeah, he's got wing damage to boot as well.
That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Stygian.
And he's being pressured now by Hardy. Going to the end of the first sector zone. Hardy down the inside on Stygian. Stygian tries to hold him off. Oh, and there's contact, and that sent Hardy off. Oh. That wasn't pretty.
Centurion picking up another time penalty.
It looks like Mega Centurion has collected another time penalty. Let's have a look and see who's got what. So, One Shot's got 6 seconds, Dangerous Dan's got 3, Centurion's got 6, Caesar's got 3, Stygian's got 3, Hardy's got 3.
Hudson coming really close up to Breezy now, as Steffi's pulled the gap to almost 10 seconds. Very impressive.
You can practically smell the fumes coming out of that V6 hybrid. Well, this says not much fumes because they're meant to be more safer for everyone. Oh god, there's Hardy. Hardy's gone down the back there.
That's unfortunate for Hardy.
I think that incident with Stygian might have rocked his momentum a little bit. One bit of contact can affect your concentration, and just a matter of hopefully he can get his head down and hope that he can get himself back up there. It's better to just make it to the end of the Grand Prix and bring the car home. Meanwhile, back to the battle for second place. JJ Hudson staying with the Renault. Steffi's extended the lead now to over 10 seconds. Or JJ is hoping to make it a Red Bull 1-2.
The good points for the Red Bull team.
Oh, and there goes Hardy once again out of the, well, not out, but off the track in the first sector. He is having far from a good day.
Evo's still close to that Williams there. Evo's still in his intermediates, 14 laps old.
Oh, Mega Centurion and Sparks again. They're both on the back of Dangerous Dan's Mercedes. But Centurion and Sparks, they've got a bit of a rivalry for today. Oh, a little bit of a send there by the Alfa Romeo with the Alfa Tauri. It's a battle of the Alphas. It pushes the Alfa Tauri wide. Mega Centurion back up to 9th position. A little bit of weaving there. That's more than one manoeuvre, really, when it comes to the defence there.
Dangerous Dan now, pressured in one shot. Milan coming up to the back at Evo now, and they fresher tyres as well.
Looks like Dangerous Dan has got the pace to attack Rippling One Shot here. It's the black Mercedes versus the pink. I don't know if he can do it on this straight. I mean, there is the clear tyre advantage. It's 5 lap versus 8 lap. Rapidly gaining. Now's not the time.
Dan also has more. Oh, One Shot as well, picking up another penalty. That'll be him up to 9. Dan also has more ERS to burn. Well, One Shot only has 20% left.
And Dan has said this is not a good time to make the move, and One Shot's made a mistake and sending it down the inside on the right-hander after One Shot's little error. Little touch of wheels and it almost sends Dan off, but he manages to easily correct it.
Omega Centurion.
Oh! That was a little ambitious for Mega Centurion, and that's allowed Little Sparks to make the retaliation and maybe retake his ninth position from the Alfa Romeo, possibly on the same area where he overtook him just a lap ago, but not quite at the moment.
Hudson's still getting ever so closer to Breezy now.
Oh, looks like FFR Milan has finally managed to get past the Mercedes of DRT Evo at the end of the first sector zone. Milan back up to 5th. What the Ferrari driver needs, and now he can put some pressure on the Division 2 Season 1 champion up ahead. And if I don't know if you can see it as well, it looks like the rain's intensifying.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It looks like things starting to get heavier, so there could quite be a with 10 laps left, there could be a possibility of full wets if the track continues to get worse.
JJ Hudson is on the gearbox of the Renault, going into the sweeping right-hander. He looks down the inside, Breezy shuts the door, and the Red Bull has to just bide his time and wait for one more opportunity, but I don't know when it's going to be full wet times. Hardy's put on hard tyres.
Oh dear. That must have been a mistake, surely.
Must be. This is not.
Yeah, he's spinning everywhere, yeah.
This is going to trigger a safety car because of this, because if he has an incident and spins and hits the wall, that will bring one out. Hard tyres in the intermediate condition, that's a very ambitious call. Oh, magic marks.
Yeah, Hardy's just spinning everywhere. That must have been a mistake, but it must have accidentally clicked onto the hard instead of a set of intermediates.
Well, let's just hope his choice on going onto the hard compound tyre does not interfere with the cars that are about to come and lap him. Magic Marks, Mega Centurion and Muddy Biscuit have now put on wet compound tyres. Is it looking like it's too wet now for intermediates? We'll find out shortly. And it looks like Sturridge and Caesar 2 Wizard are battling it out. And eventually we're on board with Steffi, because we're going to have a little look to see if the hard is going to cause an interference. Probably not right now. JJ Hudson, however, still on the back of Breezy.
Oh yeah, Hardy must have spun. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, he's almost rejoined the racing line.
I don't think Steffi's too bothered with everyone. Some people going to the full wets. He's managed to pull the gap to 12 seconds now.
Oh!
Oh, Hardy, what's happened? Oh. That's going to be a safety car.
And that's a safety car.
That's unfortunate for Steffi.
That has potentially costed Steffi the lead of the French Grand Prix. Sturridge has received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car.
Things have got a little bit more interesting in this French Grand Prix.
Yeah, wets are starting to come on now. I think inters are now too harsh now on these cars. Sturridge has retired from the French Grand Prix. A part of me, it may have been a mistake from Hardy, but I don't know what possessed him to put so much throttle on to the car when he had like no grip. If he just feathered it, he could have gone into the pits, got that wing fixed, and then put some wets on.
I think he may be too far behind. I would have just retired from the race.
Question is what's Steffi gonna do? This safety car could have potentially costed Steffi Weffy Gamer his maiden Grand Prix victory in RSF1. He claimed a podium last week, and I did say he could have potentially gotten on again, but with this safety car, Oh, I have to feel for him. You have to feel for him for that, because rapidly the others are catching him, and he happened to catch that safety car. If he just had another few seconds, he would have been past it, would have stuck to the Delta, put on the wet compound tyre, and would have kept his lead, but... Oh.
Very, very, must be very frustrating.
Question is what's he going to do? It's 8 laps to go. The spray is harsh. Is it worth staying out?
Oh, he's going in.
Steffi has chosen to make the call in boxing, and I reckon Steffi's going to be quite far down the order. I think his only hope on winning the Grand Prix or even getting the podium is if JJ Hudson can cause any problems for the cars behind him. Steffi Weffy Gamer into the pits.
Where is he going to come out?
Steffi could get out behind the Mercedes here. No, he gets out just between Draco and DRT Evo, so he has a potential opportunity because he has had some really good pace here, so hopefully he can convert what was really good leading pace into some attacks. And maybe reclaim some positions, because some people do have penalties. Quite a few people have made a bold call in staying out on intermediates. JJ Hudson, Caesar, and Riplin One Shot. They've all stayed out. So if they pit, Steffi can retake a few positions.
It's also impressive with Steffi's pace before the safety car when Breezy said that he was on a dry setup going onto this race, so just shows the talent behind Steffi.
Agreed. He showed good talent in the Canadian Grand Prix, and he demonstrated it today with a really good pole lap in qualifying. Started in first, been leading the Grand Prix all the way until Hardy had those hards on and crashed into the pit lane entrance, which had triggered the safety car.
Safety car could maybe come in this lap, maybe, possibly, or might stay out another lap.
It should give us the prompt any time now if it is going in. If it's not going to give it now, then it's staying out for one more lap.
Looks like it's going to stay out.
Which is not good for Steffi, because Steffi needs to get...
Son.
No, there you go. That's late. Steffi needs to get going now. Going back on board with the race leader for the restart of the French Grand Prix. JJ Hudson on intermediate tyres. Is that the right call to make? He's losing the back end a little bit. No one can overtake him. Muddy Biscuit collects a 5-second time penalty for a collision with AB Draco. That's not his fault in terms of the track one. So his streak in terms of track limits and corner cutting is still safe. That's just one thing that happens. It looks like Caesar 2 Wizard, though, is doing okay. And now this is going to be interesting, because these intermediate drivers have to hold up the wets enough time to buy Steffi or anyone behind the chance to close in some ground. But I think it's clear it's too wet for intermediates.
One Shot picking up another penalty, which moves them on to 12 seconds worth of penalties.
Me saying that, though, Caesar's pulling away from Breezy.
And starting to put Hudson under some pressure. Who knows? Caesar 2 Wizard could get the win here.
He's going to fight for it, but he's got those penalties, though, to contend with.
Yeah, so he's going to have to try his best to get past Hudson and then pull away as much as he can.
He's looking to do it.
Yeah, 6 seconds he's going to have to pull.
Stygian gets a penalty. very, very interesting turn of events. Red Bull could still take the win, but just not the order we thought they would get it. Because it looks like the wet drivers are struggling to keep up with the Inters.
Definitely does look as if he's struggling, which is very unfortunate.
One shot is actually going to try and make the move on FFR Milan. He's finding some pace, even on the Inters.
Yeah, maybe the wets was a mistake. Maybe that as well. The right tyre to choose is what S04 Wizard and Hudson are pulling away from Breezy.
Oh, imagine how annoyed Steffi might be because he chose to box for wets and he's actually falling behind now.
I'd be very frustrated because I'm pretty sure Steffi would have had that one in the bag.
Oh, there goes FFR Milan making a move down the inside on Breezy. Ball's back behind. Oh! He almost tangles with one shot.
Milan's gonna...
Oh, and he went... What a move! That was round the outside.
Very impressive move from Milan.
Bold move from the Ferrari driver on Breezy.
Oh, yellow flag.
That's Magic Marks down the back of the grid who's lost the car, and Breezy spun it.
Bad day at the office for the two Renaults on the homely race.
FFR Milan can secure a podium here though. It does look like... Actually, no, here's the question, because they only lasted 10 laps. And Breezy's retired in the pits. Can the Inters last to the end? They got to do 4 more laps.
Possibly. It depends. I think they can, because S04 Wizard and Hudson have shown the pace that Inter still have over the wets.
Oh, there's Centurion pressuring. He's pressuring Milan here now. Ripped in one shot's now starting to fall back a little. I think this is wet conditions, but I think it's just setups here that's coming into play because the rain is heavy.
Yellow flag. Who's that?
That's just the cars of
okay.
Breezy and Magic Marks coming out of the pits after they retired inside the pits.
So it looks like the Inters were the right choice after all. Pretty sure Steffi will be picking himself after this race.
Centurion is nearly touching the back of Milan's car.
Oh, Evo's went off.
Oh. I think this is a definite demonstration that everyone's not having a good day in these wet conditions. That safety car really threw everything topsy-turvy. Oh, contact between Mega Centurion and FFR Milan, and that's allowed Rippling one shot to get in this action.
Magic Marks is expressing his emotion that the safety car ruins his race every race.
Oh my god! Double overtake by Rippling one shot!
Bad thing is though, he has 12 seconds worth of penalties.
That is going to massively affect him. The pack is still very close together.
Oh, S04 was in there losing it. Can Hudson bring home the win for the Red Bull?
Question is can they hold on? We know they last around this much laps, but can the Inters keep it? They're out of their comfort zone here. This is full wet conditions. Because remember, sometimes when you're racing in the wet conditions, the game's like, we don't know if the wets or the Inters are good here, so it's definitely good enough for both. But One Shot is struggling a lot with grip in those intermediates in the corners.
Now on 15 seconds.
Hudson's pulling away from Caesar.
All to play for up the top.
This has been a very, very bizarre race.
Yeah, entertaining as well with the safety car at the end there.
Oh, Lukey and Draco side by side going down to turn 1. This is a battle for 10th position and 9th position. It looks like, however, here Draco holds the inside. Lukey makes contact going around the outside. Draco's still holding on there side by side through the start-finish straight, the final corner, and now down to the end of the first sector zone. For this moment, Lukey has to hold off and collect a time penalty to add to his troubles.
Hudson only needs to last 2 more laps on the intermediate tyres and he's got the win.
Oh, Lukey's just waiting for the opportunity to retaliate and claim back his 9th position. Meanwhile, going up to the front, it looks like JJ Hudson is struggling to find grip. And has lost half a second to Caesar.
I think this has proved to everyone that's watching, if they have a league race this week in France, that they don't want wet weather at all.
This is a close race. An entertaining race. Unexpected wet weather, though. I didn't think it would be wet. I thought it was going to be a dry one. But the game has proven me wrong. And on the second to last lap, JJ Hudson is holding off the Alfa Romeo. Caesar 2 Wizard after having that spin in the early stages of the race. However, he has got 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Even if he takes the lead, he will lose it back to JJ Hudson when they cross the line. Unless JJ Hudson spins, it's JJ's race to win or to lose.
Got to feel bad for Steffi, stuck in P11, had the win in the bag until that safety car came out.
Steffi is still with the pack, and with the amount of penalties there is, Steffi could at least jump up to potentially reclaim a spot in the top 5 maybe, because Rippling One Shot just collected 15 seconds worth of time penalties. And we look at the gap to leader, the gap between Steffi and JJ Hudson is 14 seconds. He'll definitely jump Rippling One Shot at this rate.
Hudson come around the final few corners to start the final lap of the race, sorry.
Oh, and there's a battle for P9 again. It looks like Lukey and Draco are going to be duking it out once again as JJ Hudson and Caesar 2 Wizard cross the line to begin the final lap of the French Grand Prix for Division 2. Lukey sends it down the inside. He catches Draco napping and moves up into 9th position. Steffi Weffy Gamer also takes advantage of the napping Draco, moves up into 10th. Now Steffi's pressuring Lukey, and this is exactly what Steffi needs to recover, especially after that very, very horrible safety car transition. And for the moment, Steffi stays where he is. Now, while they duke it out there, back to the battle for the lead. JJ Hudson, who started as the back end of the sandwich between himself, his teammate, and the Renaults, manages to lead after his teammate pitted onto the wet tyres, which was probably a mistake at this point, but back then no one could have known for sure if the wets or the inters were the way to go. The inters stuck it out. Tyres probably worn as hell, but they held on for as much as they could. Caesar2 Wizard has been challenging JJ Hudson all the way since the safety car restart. And now it looks like JJ's risk on not pitting has been rewarded as we have 2 corners to go. Round the final corner we go for the Red Bull team at France today. JJ Hudson crosses the line and wins in France and takes it for the French Grand Prix. Caesar gets second. One shot crosses the line third. Centurion, he collects per position because one shot had many penalties, so a double podium for the Alfa Romeo team. Dangerous Dan crosses the line fourth. Milan fourth. Steffi gets sixth. A good recovery for Steffi.
Still unfortunate though for them. Could have got that P1 there.
If you want to make your vote for your chosen driver of the day, please check out our Twitter at Racing Series F1 and you can place your vote on who's your chosen driver of the day. But for the moment, on the podium, JJ Hudson collects his win for Red Bull Racing and a double podium for the Alfa Romeo team with their incidents they had today, with their spins. To see them collect a double podium, that was phenomenal pace from both the Alfa Romeo drivers. If you could invite the top 3 in, I'll go the grid from first to last.
Okay.
So going from first position is JJ Hudson, who started fourth and won the French Grand Prix. In second place, it's Caesar2 Wizard. Third is Mega Centurion. Fourth is FFR Milan. Fifth is Lil Sparks. Sixth is Steffi Weffy Game. Unfortunately, with that corn pitting to the wets, it potentially has robbed him of his maiden Grand Prix victory, which I know he'll be feeling. 7th is AB Draco. 8th is Lukey. 9th is Dangerous Dan. 11th is Rippling One Shot. 10th is Rippling One Shot. 11th is Muddy Biscuit. 12th is Stygian. 13th DRT Evo. 14th Magic Marts. 15th is Breezy. 16th is Sturridge. And to round off the grid after that spin and crashing into the pit lane entry, Hardy out in last position. And what a Grand Prix that was, Mason. What a Grand Prix.
Yeah, fantastic Grand Prix, great racing, kept it clean for the majority of the race.
So, I'll do third, you do second, I'll do first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Make sure all 3 of you have included your audio in the box in the party, please. And we'll start off with Mega Centurion. Okay, let me be really honest. I did not expect you to get P3. You and Caesar both had a bit of a day to forget at the start of the Grand Prix with some spins and then falling down to the back of the pack, but you both got your heads down. And your persistence has rewarded Alfa Romeo a double podium. I'm pretty sure you're just happy to claim that P3, Mega Centurion. But like, how's the rest of the race and qualifying been for you, mate?
Well, qualifying wasn't going to go well because using like full wet setup for Spa, so yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Just missed the flag in Q2 as well by about 5 seconds, so could have maybe got to Q3. But yeah, race start, stuck in traffic. I think I had better pace than the people around me because I was making a few moves. And then alongside Sparks, just kind of, it's not really a place to go too wide. I kind of knew he'd turn in, but I trusted him a bit too much. But then, yeah, the safety car kind of helped me because I was able to overcut all the people that pitted under the safety car. And then, yeah, it was just pace from there.
And, well, after that incident with Sparks, I did not know if he was able to push up because it looks like some people struggled in terms of frontline speed to make passes, but as you said, you've capitalised on people pitting, you had the pace, and you've been rewarded. So congratulations on collecting P3 today for the Alfa Romeo team. And I'll now pass over to Mason Dunk to interview your teammate. Caesar 2 Wizard.
These are two wizards. You started P12 today and finished P2. How do you think your race went?
Started pretty bad, didn't it? I had a good lunch and I tried to secure the inside of turn 1, and there's a McLaren that just decided to claim it, and that's just a turn 1 incident, to be frank with him. Then I realised I had so much more speed down the chicane, and tried to overtake Williams in as well. Tried to be respectful and not corner cut, and then he as well turned in a bit abruptly, and that sent me definitely for a 360. On there I was a bit angry. I think you could ask Mega. I was a bit angry, but I knew we had some speed because we worked on the wet setup together. So, and then from there, it was car after car after car after car, and then traffic, a bit more difficult to overtake, and some very debateful wheel-to-wheel action. But you know what? At the end of the day, I didn't give up, and that's what matters the most, and that's second. So, and the safety car saved me as well, because I didn't have to pit again, and that's what gave me a little bit of an advantage. But again, never give up, I guess. That's what paid off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Austria next week, so how are you feeling going on to that track?
I like it. It's, again, depends of the conditions, depends of the grid, because today the grid was very quick and dry, and although you could say some people are maybe some dry setups, so I feel like I can do something decent, but I have to see. But I like the track. That's what matters the most. And you can have some rain, so that's fine by me.
Yeah, congratulations on your P2.
Thanks.
Right. JJ Hudson. You had a bit of an interesting start, because on the line it was a Renault sandwich, and both you and your teammate were the bread. And yours unfortunately the bottom piece when it came to the start, but you made some serious ground, and you kept your head down with some battles going on. You put a lot of pressure on Sturridge, who unfortunately had issues near the end. Same with Breezy, and unfortunately, because what could have been a beautiful double podium for the Red Bull team, Steffi just made a bit of a gamble going on to the wets, and it just didn't work in his favour. But for you, who stayed out on the inters, you managed to claim a win. And if I'm correct, is this your first win of the season?
Yeah, I think it is my first win of the season, mate. I've had some bad luck this season, but it's nice to get one finally.
Well, tell us your thought process, because that was not an easy race.
Well, at the start, it's hard to overtake, obviously, no DRS, so it's just following Breezy and Sturridge at the beginning. Then I noticed Sturridge was struggling a bit with his rears, so I just kind of stayed as close as I can to him. Finally got past him, and then Breezy was up the road about 2 seconds. So I just concentrated on closing him down, and then caught him up by the first pit stop. And then after the first pit stop, I looked quicker than him. So I just bided my time and just waiting for him to make a mistake so I could overtake him. And then the safety car came out, and I was like, Breezy pitted in front of me for wets, and I was debating whether to do it or not. And then I seen Steffi do it, my teammate, and I was like, I'm just going to stick with what I got now. But it worked out for me, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and tell you what, you as you said, you've had a bit of an unlucky season, and today your patience, your persistence, and your skill came in and got you the win. So I imagine you're going to sleep happy tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm happy tonight, mate. Sweating through that race I was. It was a hard race, but obviously it's a tough track when it's raining, so yeah, I'm just glad I didn't get any penalties this week as well.
Well, Steffi did manage to recover and collect P6, so it's not all lost. Your teammate managed to get some good points, you yourself taking that win as well, so that has definitely given Red Bull that push that it needed. And the same question that Mason asked Caesar is, how are you feeling for Austria? Is it one of your strong circuits, or is it the complete opposite?
To be honest, I like Austria. I'm good around there. My qualifying pace is good, but my race pace is even better around there, so I think I'll be up there again, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, but for now, enjoy the victory, and yeah, well done.
Cheers,
anyways,
mate.
thank you very much, everyone, for watching the French Grand Prix for Division 2, and I'd like to give a massive congratulations to Mason Dunk, first of all, for joining me tonight. Had some fun tonight, Mason. You did really well.
Aye, cheers, you too.
And yeah, if you want to see some more Division 2 action, you're going to have to wait until next week when we get to the Red Bull Ring, the Austrian Grand Prix. So yeah, if you want to tune into that, please, you've got to wait till next Sunday at 8 PM. However, if you want to see more French Grand Prix action, tune in tomorrow at 8 PM when Division 3 take their turn around the Circuit de Paul Ricard. In the meantime, everyone, take care, stay safe, and have a good evening.